Could seitan be the ground meat replacement you've been looking for?
Let's find out today on the Bistro.
So seitan is one of my favorite things to make as a meat replacement because you get to make something like substantial from like nothing. It's just, I like that. It's kind of like making bread for me. Okay, so what am I starting with?
You're starting out with a full cup of Vital Wheat gluten. Seitan is a gluten-based product, so I'm sorry if you have celiac disease or gluten sensitivity, this recipe is probably not for you.
Right. There are ways to make gluten-free seitan. I'm saying that with quotes because the whole point of seitan is it's gluten. So it's a seitan-like product at that point. Anyway, we are using Anthony's Vital Wheat gluten. It's what I've been using for years. Really good stuff. We'll have links to everything that we use in the description, as well as this recipe written out for you.
To that, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast.
Now, I would also like to point out there's about 1.5 million ways to make seitan. This is a fairly simple one, but I want something with a little bit of a firmer texture in this case because of what we're gonna do to it.
We are making this with a neutral flavor profile, so that way we can use the ground mixture in basically any recipe later on. More to come.
Sort of a beef-ish like flavor, I'd have to say though.
A tablespoon each of the Wonder Twins, onion powder, and garlic powder.
And yeah, I'm eyeballing everything because that's just how I always do it. A little more, a little less of any one seasoning or anything isn't really going to change the recipe so much. If you put in a ton more of something, yeah, that'll change. Also, please don't leave out the nutritional yeast. It's there as a dough conditioner as well as flavor enhancer, so it does actually help to keep this dough nice and elastic and a little bit more tender.
Our last dry ingredient is going to be some beetroot powder. We're going to do 1.5 tablespoons. This is going to add our color to our ground, and it is going to add a little bit of a earthy flavor.
This is what makes it almost beefy.
Yeah.
And how much do I need?
1.5 tablespoons.
That's what I thought. It tends to clump, so I just kind of break it up a little bit before I put that in there. Yeah, there we go. Don't breathe this. If you shake it up, don't breathe it because it gets really fine particles.
All these ingredients that we're using for our dry are kind of a powder, and so you just want to keep that in mind with handling them because they can get kind of messy.
All right, now what?
So after we have our dry blended, we're going to go ahead and do the wet ingredients. For that, we have 1.5 tablespoons of red wine vinegar.
If you don't have red wine, you can use white wine vinegar. I'm just using red because I'm making a red-ish type of product, so I figure red wine is a little bit better for this. And don't skimp on the vinegar. You want the vinegar in there. It actually helps mask some of the Vital Wheat gluten-ish flavor. What else?
Water.
That's it?
That's it. I have measured out 3/4 of a cup of water, but you're gonna hydrate this anywhere between 1/2 to 3/4 of the cup.
So I'm just dumping in like half of that, like I always do, and I'll start the mixing process, which is basically just like making dough. Now, I know already that this is far too dry, so I'm just gonna put in the rest of the water. It's hard to make this really wrong. Like, you just kind of go by feel, and after a while, seitan becomes second nature. That's why I don't really measure anything anymore. I know what I need the texture to be. See, I need even more than the 3/4 of a cup water. There's a lot of dry ingredients in this, so let's get a little more water. I got about another 1/2 cup here. I'm gonna use a 1/4 cup, so like half of a half, you know.
If you eyeball your dry, you're probably gonna have to eyeball your wet as well.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Just adjustments need to be made, is all.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting closer to the texture I want. Still needs just a couple of drops of water. This is why I love doing it in a glass bowl with a metal spoon, because I can slosh it around in here and see when it's off the sides, like that.
Yeah, he's using the spoon to actually maneuver his mixture around because that is going to collect all the excess on this side. You paid for those ingredients, you might as well consume them.
That's right. Okay, once it gets to about that kind of consistency where it's like a solid mass holds together, that's what I'm gonna get. The best tools I have, and that's my hands, get all the little bits off that spoon, because like she just said, you paid for those bits, they're your bits. And then I'm gonna just knead it a little bit with my hand. And I like to do this stretchy thing in my hands like this. It should feel like a soft dough. That's the easiest way to describe it. There really is no full description, but you should see strands forming as you go. As it kneads more and more, this isn't really kneading, but it is. It's working the dough. Because there's beetroot powder in this, I don't like to put it on my cutting boards because it stains them.
Yeah.
So I usually do this one just in the air. If you need to make a lot more, then you might need to do a cutting board, maybe a plastic cutting board that you can just sanitize afterwards.
Cover it with saran wrap or
you could do that.
parchment paper.
But this is enough for 4 people. So it actually is a significant recipe. But the beautiful thing about this is you can freeze it, you can refrigerate it, you can do whatever you need to once it's been cooked. Right now, I don't know that I'd want to store it. Okay, I'm starting to see strands and like a skin forming over the top. When that doesn't break super easy, that's when you know you're kneaded just about enough. Once I get there, I'm just gonna scrape up the bowl one last time, form it into a mass. It doesn't have to be any specific shape, but you want it to be something that can cook consistently. So I don't want it too thick because, otherwise it'll just take a lot longer to cook.
You also don't want it to be too oblong in thickness, so like one big thick part and one skinny part, because that will affect the cooking as well.
So something like, just make it like a huge burger, something like that. But now I have to prepare my Instant Pot. You can also steam this alternatively, but I'm gonna show you how to do it in an Instant Pot right now. All right, so I have here the Gigundous Instant Pot, because we have 3 Instant Pots now. I love it, it's so awesome. But with ours came this lovely steamer basket. If you don't have a steamer basket, any way that you can raise this from the bottom of the pot is great. I've seen people use like a tinfoil snake and stuff like that, it's all good. But this sits about 1 inch from the bottom. You can hold on to that for just a second. Make a noise, and I don't need it to be in the camera. And I just want like 1 inch of water, just enough to get into the bottom, just barely, right about there. I just want it to just cover the bottom of the pot. A cup or 2 of water is really all you need. Then I have some parchment. Now when I use parchment, I always have like a piece left over or something. So this is that piece left over, but I have a trick for it. It never lays flat for me. It always rolls up, and that drives me nuts. So I crumple it up. And then stick that in the bottom. If I don't put that on the bottom, what'll happen is the seitan, as it cooks, will push through the little ringlets in the steamer basket, and then it's harder to get out. It doesn't hurt it, it's just harder to get out. So now I'm gonna take our seitan, drop it in there. This goes in the Instant Pot for 30 minutes on high pressure. Someone asked me the other day about the time and temperature and the pressure. It's high pressure, high temperature on pressure cook. If your Instant Pot has different settings for that, but it's just high and high pressure. That's pretty much it. After it's done the 30 minutes, I usually just release the pressure and pull it out. So you don't have to naturally release. You can, it's not gonna hurt anything, but I don't bother. So see when that's done. If you don't have an Instant Pot or you don't want to use your Instant Pot for this, you can just steam this on the stove. Just get a pot of boiling water, use a steamer basket or any kind of steaming apparatus that you might have. You just probably want to do it for more like an hour just to be on the safe side that it cooks all the way through. Okay, so the timer went off and I released the pressure, pulled the seitan out, and it's sitting. In a perfect world, you would want to refrigerate this or let it come to room temperature slowly. I don't live in a perfect world, so we're gonna press on right now. And what I kind of do is just pat it down a little bit with some paper towels to dry it off if there's any excess liquid. And now I just want to basically chop it up into chunks. But I can show you the texture of it. So yeah, looking at this texture, you can see it's kind of bouncy, looks really, really nice. That's exactly what we're looking for. Like I said, just chunks. They don't have to be tiny, they just have to be chunks. It feels really weird doing this to a seitan that you just put all this effort into to make that perfect size and shape and everything, but it's going in the food processor. And yes, this is still really hot. The flavor on this is kind of mild. It's not overly anything. Like Derica said earlier, it's kind of a neutral flavoring, so that you can flavor it however you like. Think of it kind of like tofu.
We're intending this as a base, so that way we can use it in any recipe we choose, where it would be appropriate to have a ground-like substance.
So once you have it in your food processor, really, really simple. Blitz it a little bit. I just pulse it though. And what we're looking for is a ground meat texture. That's it. It's really, really simple. All right, just a few pulses. This actually does work better when it's cold, so it doesn't stick together as easy. And you can, of course, adjust the texture to your desired consistency. Take a look inside there. That looks pretty good to me. Then, of course, once you do that, you got to get it out of your food processor. This is my least favorite part of the whole thing.
It's because it's fiddly. Brian doesn't do fiddly.
I don't do yeah, you're right. I don't do fiddly. But food processor's easier than a blender, so I just take the blade out, pour it out into a bowl, and tell me that that doesn't look just like, you know, something you used to eat in a previous lifetime.
Possibly.
Not everybody did. This is like practically pure protein at this point, with a little bit of flavor. And I'm just gonna push that off with my finger because it was really irritating me. It tastes good though.
The first time Brian did this, in theory it sounded sound, but then when he finally prepared it, I was like, wow.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. Now, there's a lot of uses for this. Basically anything that you would use ground meat in. This can substitute TVP, this can substitute my tofu crumble. You can do all sorts of things with this. You can throw this back in a pan and crisp it up a little bit if you want to. Throw it into a tomato sauce, which we're gonna be doing a video on my tomato sauce using this. You can make tacos, you can make meatballs, you can make burgers, you can make meatloaf. And you know what? We're gonna do all of those things in upcoming videos.
Do you have a favorite recipe that isn't plant-based that you would like us to convert? Let us know in the comments below.
And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on
The Bistro.